Good evening and welcome to the evening news. In the headlines, Guyana must put house in order to prevent blacklisting. Fifth cycle of continuous registration opens Monday. And the U.S. arrests Bouterse's son. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us for your Friday, August 30, 2013 edition of the evening news. Now for the details. Guyana needs to get its house in order if it is to escape blacklisting from international financial transactions after missing the deadline to have submitted its updated Anti-Money Laundering Act to be in compliance with the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. We have the details in this report.
The only way out is to put your house in order.
That was Bank of Guyana Governor Lawrence Williams during an interview with the media. He said Guyana cannot prevent correspondent banks from treating it as a high-risk country when conducting international financial transactions, given its lack of enforcement of the anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism legislation. Williams stressed that Guyana's only alternative of averting the situation is to correct its downfalls so that it can be seen as a safe financial jurisdiction on the world stage. He said the country must have legislation that meet international best practices.
International trade can be severely affected. It would be extremely difficult to effect payments and settlements internationally because these would have to be executed through correspondent banks, and once the correspondent banks realize that Guyana is treated as a high-risk country in terms of the anti-money laundering and the countering and financing of terrorism, they will undertake enhanced monitoring of all transactions emanating from financial institutions in Guyana.
However, aside from increased monitoring, he said some corresponding banks may even seek to sever their relationship with Guyana. As such, he believes the major hurdle now is sorting out legislative framework. CFTF had given Guyana up to August 22 after it failed to reach an earlier deadline of May 27 to submit its amended Anti-Money Laundering Act. But with no parliamentary consensus on the legislation's amendments, government has said that the country is now exposed to international sanctions. To this end, the country now stands to face serious international sanctions from CFTF. For the evening news, Leanna Bradshaw.
The Guyana Elections Commission GECOM will commence the fifth cycle of continuous registration on Monday. This registration exercise will end on November 23, 2013, GECOM said in a statement, adding that anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2013 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more is eligible for registration during this exercise. During this registration exercise, persons who are eligible for registration are required to visit the registration office that is responsible for their areas of residence to apply for registration. All persons who will be eligible for registration but are not in possession of the relevant supporting documents are urged to take the immediate steps to acquire said documents in order to facilitate their respective registration during this continuous registration exercise. In the Sabatini-Daniels report, we hear that Cabinet Secretary Dr. Roger Luncheon disclosed today that Guyana will be moving away from the use of Styrofoam in the near future. Here are details.
Dr. Luncheon says Natural Resources and Environment Minister Robert Prasad received Cabinet's approval in June to put in place a number of measures to restrict Styrofoam products in Guyana. Speaking at his weekly post-Cabinet briefing, he noted that the measures are currently being drafted, adding an important reason for this decision.
The imposition of taxes and duties on its importation and use, with the intention, of course, of being a disincentive to its importation and its use in the food industry.
He added that another reason for this was due to the creation and offer of incentives to importers and users of alternatives to Styrofoam in the food sector. He said Cabinet tasked the Environment Ministry with the responsibility of fully elaborating on these aspects of its intent to restrict importation on the use of this product. Dr. Luncheon also highlighted that the use of Styrofoam in Guyana plays an important role in garbage disposal.
Dino Bouterse, the son of the Suriname President Desi Bouterse, was arrested in Panama on Thursday on charges of drug smuggling and violating firearms laws. The arrest was reported on August 30 by the U.S. authorities. The younger Bouterse is accused of drug smuggling and violating firearm laws since he got out of jail. He was sentenced to jail in 2005 for drug and weapon smuggling and served several years of the sentence. Bouterse, 40, now faces a U.S. federal indictment in the Southern District of New York, alleging he worked with a man identified as Edmund Quincy Munslag to smuggle cocaine into the United States starting in or about December 2011. Bouterse will appear in a Manhattan federal court later today before Judge James Francis. He and Munslag, also of Suriname, both face maximum sentences of life in prison. Dino was allegedly wiretapped while conducting business that led to his arrest. After years of negotiations between the Ghana Postal and Communications Workers Union and the government of Ghana, more than 100 pensioners from the Ghana Telephone and Telegraph Company are still to receive their emoluments. Details from Bashar Mohammed.
At a specially convened meeting with the aggrieved workers at the union's headquarters, East Street, Georgetown, on Friday, to address the issues, a strategy has been derived which will kick into gear if the government does not fulfill its obligation. This announcement was made by Harold Shepard, president of the union, who expresses frustration about the drawn-out process which should have been completed under the former President Bar Jagdio's regime.
This issue, the union has been following this issue. We're trying to make representation on behalf of the pensioners as early as 2003, whereby the union representatives at that time met with President Jagdio along with Mr. Luncheon and also the president. And coming out of that meeting, a draft agreement was prepared, but the agreement was not acceptable in terms of how it was drafted, whereby government was just prepared to pay the pension as of 2004. We will leave no stone unturned as it relates to this issue. And I believe that, I'm hoping that good sense will prevail, whereby government will come to realization that they owe the former employees. The former employees would have worked, they would have given their sweat and tears to build this country, the telephone industry in this country. And we hope not that we will now be forced to take the road in protest.
However, Clifton Blackett, former personal manager of the telephone company in 1990, explained the then agreement between the telephone company and the Guyana Telecommunications Corporation.
We were told that our service at the time of divestment, that our services would be continuous and that our conditions of service would be no less favorable than that in the Pension Act. You need to understand that once our services are continuous, then our final pensionable emolument would aggregate to there about 2/3 of our pensionable emoluments.
Meanwhile, the Evening News caught up with two workers who shared their concerns.
My grievance is that I have not been paid my due pension. My due pension is that my salary at attaining the age of 55 must be calculated with the same format that is for the public service. I retired as a manager GTT, and my salary, my pension actually, is $18,000 a month.
I can talk for myself on others I know. We've always been receiving minimum pension. From the time we started. It is now reached 18,000. So you could tell it was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
The union has also written to His Excellency Donald Ramatar and head of the Presidential Secretariat in an effort to bring a resolution to this matter. Bashar Mohammed, The Evening News.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. You're watching The Evening News. This is The Evening News. Welcome back. Be of good service and contribute to Ghana's economy positively were the words echoed by Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, Alfred King, during his feature address at the second graduation ceremony of the Youth Entrepreneurial Skills Training Program of the New Opportunity Corps at Underneming Village on the Essequibo Coast. Speaking to graduates, King said the NOC, the only correctional facility in Guyana, provides children with a valuable opportunity to change their lives. He said children should be proud and boast of their achievements. However, the proudest moments for the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport is for the children to exhibit their skills. He urged the students of the graduating batch to be true ambassadors of the institution and to be proud of whatever they would have achieved. A leader of a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, David Granger, has urged the government of Guyana to inject a much-needed subvention into the University of Guyana to avoid a hike in tuition fees. Whitney Prasad reports.
Leader of the main opposition, David Granger, says that it is a fact that the fees paid by students of the University of Guyana are not sufficient for materials that will be used in tuition throughout the year. As such, the University of Guyana had proposed a hike in the fees that will be required by students. However, not every citizen and student is in agreement with this. Some of the students have complained that the expense would be beyond them, and getting a diploma or degree is very important to secure a good-paying job. To this end, the APNU, during its weekly press briefing, suggested that government supply the subvention to address the financial issues that currently looms the institution. Granger, during his address to the media, urged that government move in this direction.
Fees are, as you say, not sufficient to pay for the tuition and the materials that they use during their university career. There's no doubt about that. But the government has an obligation to add to those fees by providing a greater subvention. Skills are not necessarily the skills, although you call them life skills. We must go on these courses and find out exactly what is being taught. What could be taught to a child in terms of culture or sports in 6 months that would provide that child with a lifelong career?
Granger said while it is a necessity for government to progress with other developmental projects, education must come first and be prioritized. This, he said, will remedy in a great way some of the major deficiencies of the university as it relates to finances. According to him, this change will not only see better education being provided, but it will also lend to the skyrocketing grades and passes coming out of Guyana's university. For the Evening News, Whitney Prasad.
President Donald Ramotar is optimistic about the future of integration of South America and the Caribbean, which he believes will yield significant benefits for both sides. Speaking in a live interview with Venezuelan state-owned television Telesur in Paramaribo, Suriname on Thursday evening, where he is attending the Heads of Government Summit of the Union of South American Nations, UNASUR, the Guyanese head of state said that the Caribbean-South American partnership is growing slowly but surely. Speaking to what may have been responsible for the pace of integration, President Ramotar pointed out the scale of economies, language barrier, and the different cultures and history of Latin America and the Caribbean. The Guyanese leader believes Guyana and Suriname have critical roles to play to move forward the integration of the Caribbean and South America because of their geographic location. The head of state also expressed gratitude to Venezuela for its support to Guyana, particularly under the Petro-Carib Agreement and that country's decision to purchase Guyana's rice and paddy. The Ministry of Education has introduced a new Board of Governors displaying its commitment to the development of President's College. We have the details in this report.
The new Board of Governors of President's College was inducted by Education Minister Priya Manik Chan on Thursday and is comprised mostly of former students and young prominent characters. According to the Education Minister at the school's 2013 orientation, the ministry will fix whatever needs to be fixed, with the new changes already implemented and those expected. PC's Board of Governors had a complete makeover with Mahendra Sharma appointed as the chairman and Francesca Vera the deputy chairman. Of the 12 remaining board members, 3 are former students of President's College. Manik Chan met with parents, teachers, and students on Thursday, where they discussed prevalent issues, during which she gave assurance that the ministry will ensure the school stays true to its founder's vision. Quote, "This vision remains true today. This is a school of excellence, and its records over the years would show that the students who have come in here have groomed themselves and have been guided to be the best that they can be." End quote. The minister pointed out that since the establishment of the school, there has been significant improvements. Increase in students' enrollment, students' performances, and subjects and programs offered are some of the enhancements the school has seen.
In the courts, a man was granted bail today after he appeared before Magistrate Faith Magusti at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. It was alleged on February 4 at Sheriff Street, Ian Suchi drove motor bus BPP 1578 in a dangerous manner to the public, causing the death of Hiralal Shivchand. He pleaded guilty to the charge read against him. Attorney Patrice Henry represented the defendant and made an application for bail, stating that his client is not a flight risk. There were no objections to bail put forward by the prosecution, and Magistrate Magusti granted bail in a sum of $200,000. The matter is set to return to court on September 16. The Ghana Agricultural and General Workers Union today awarded 11 students who performed exceedingly well at a national Grade 6 assessment. Details in this report.
11 NGSA students were today awarded with bursaries from the Guyana Agricultural Workers Union. The awardees were the children of GAWU members from sugar estates from all across Demerara who performed well at the National Grade 6 assessment. This is not the first time GAWU has issued bursaries to students. Kamal Chan, GAWU's president, stated that it is the union's way of encouraging the students to continue their studies. He went on to say that parents should support their child or children with their decision of what they would like to become professionally.
Education is generally important, and our union pay a lot of attention to education.
The students awarded were Shushmita Bisnot and Yushada Samaru from Enmore, Noel Timothy Prasad from LBI, Dave C. Prasad from Wales, Suman Dionarain and David Trishana from IFLA, Sarah Ali from BEV, Marissa McKenzie from NHS, Bishnu Kisson from DDL, Toshika Smith from DTL, and Travis Antonio Gordon from DHB. Dave C. Prasad and Mauricia McKenzie both received double awards since their parents are members of GAWU and the credit union. Chand also told the parents to monitor their children's activities and to keep them focused on their studies.
Melvin Spencer was today remanded to prison after he appeared before Magistrate Faith Magusti at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Spencer, aged 41 of Lot 108 West Reinfeldt Housing Scheme, was not required to plead to the charge, which read that between September 1, 2010 and September 30, 2010, he conspired with others to commit a felony with a forged instrument. The charge read that he conspired to obtain $75 million Ghana from the Bank of Guyana with 20 Ghana Bank for Trade and Industry checks. He was represented by attorney Fongafat, who made an application for reasonable bail. Prosecutor Sion Blackman objected to bail on grounds that apart from the time of the offence to now, the police had issued a wanted bulletin for him. He also objected on the grounds that the value of the checks and the punishment attached to such an event. More news still ahead. Stay tuned. You're watching the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. The Muslim organizations of Guyana will on Saturday hold a peace and solidarity walk and rally to pray for peace and unity of the global Muslim nation. The walk will commence at 16 hours in front of Parliament Building and will end at the recently concluded Queenstown Jama Masjid. It will be followed by a rally which will be attended by numerous Muslims from across the country who will be addressed by leaders and scholars of the Islamic community. The activity is expected to create awareness of the worsening crisis in the Muslim world and the ongoing war and bloodshed in the Middle East countries, which has resulted in the death of hundreds of thousands of innocent people. Special prayers for worldwide peace, unity, and human dignity will also be held. Newly appointed president of the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana, Kit Nascimento, says the private sector thinks City Hall should stop dealing with the collection of garbage in the city. Sabatini Daniels reports.
Nascimento said the private sector has recommended that City Council completely cease handling garbage disposal in Georgetown since the agency does not have the capacity to deal with this. Speaking to this newscast during an exclusive interview, he stated that professional collectors should be hired to collect garbage since he noted that the parts of the city which have the best garbage collection are the places where private collectors work.
To professionals who know what to do and will do it once properly paid. Then there's a need for the local government ministry, which is responsible for waste disposal matters, to address the whole issue of waste disposal countrywide.
He also posited that the private sector is perturbed by the relationship of the local government ministry and the city council, noting that the two agencies sharing a good bond is essential in tackling the garbage situation in Guyana.
There is a discontinuance there. There is a huge discord there. And a lot of time and energy and probably money is being wasted in that regard, while the core problem of waste disposal is not being effectively addressed.
He also said that the Higgs-Bosch landfill site needs to be expanded since it collects almost twice the amount of waste disposal that the project site is designed for. Sabatini Daniels reporting for the Evening News.
The Public Works Ministry has sought to provide clarification on misinformation reported in Thursday's edition of the Stabroek News. It stated the article titled "Temeri North Residents Protest Restricted Attendance at a Relocation Meeting" failed miserably in reporting correct information. According to a statement from the ministry, the meeting that was held on August 28 catered for squatters who are living in the key zone needed for the first phase of the airport expansion, and the Minister of Public Works, Robson Ben, informed them of their relocation options, including Yarrow Cabra. Officials from the Housing Ministry were present to guide those who never applied for a house lot on the procedure and pledged to fast-track their applications. The statement also noted that at no time did Minister Ben announce a $1.5 million compensation package or a $10,000 transportation fee for their relocation. The Public Works Ministry further stated that filtering unchecked information to the public highlights the deterioration in quality reporting. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Stay tuned for sport, which is sponsored by MAC. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, which is sponsored by Macorp. In the headlines, Low Edgel win gold in Caribbean Championship. Permal Bishu enjoy Limacol CPL experience. And Zimbabwe cricketers protest over outstanding sum. Now for the details. We start with some table tennis news. Overseas-based Guyanese tennis Low and local star Chelsea Edgel won Guyana its first gold medal in the women's doubles competition at the ongoing Senior Caribbean Table Tennis Championship in St. Lucia. Low and Edgel defeated the Trinidad and Tobago pair of Rihanna Chung and Joshua De Gans to win the final 3-0. Guyana also took silver in a women's team event, with Edgel picking up a silver medal in the under-21 women's single category at the Bouterse Stadium indoor facility. And fresh off a commanding win over Croatia's Mirjana Lucic-Baroni on Tuesday, Sasha Vickery of the United States of America suffered a defeat of her own in round 2 of the U.S. Open on Thursday. Playing in the women's singles on Court 4 at Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, Queens, the 18-year-old of Guyanese parentage lost in straight sets 7-5, 6-3 to Israel's Julia Glushko. The loss ended Vickery's campaign in the women's single, but extended Glushko's stay in the tournament. This is the 23-year-old Glushko's second appearance at the U.S. Open after being knocked out in the opening round in 2012. Vickery made a brilliant start to the U.S. Open on Tuesday, comfortably beating Lucia Baroni 6-4, 6-4. Now for some cricket news. The left-arm spinner Veerasamy Permaul of the Ghana Amazon Warriors says he's satisfied with his showing in the just concluded Limacol Caribbean Premier League. The Albion spinner finished as Guyana's second leading wicket-taker in the tournament, which was won by the Jamaican Tallowers. Here are details. The 24-year-old Permaul ended the tournament with 10 wickets from 9 games at an average of 19, with best figures of 3 for 32 against the Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel at the Guyana National Stadium. It was a complete turnaround for the left-armer, who earlier in the year at the Caribbean T20 competition was thrashed to all parts of the park, picking up just a solitary wicket.
Earlier the year wasn't what I was expected, but during the year I keep working on my game and it come out at the right time.
What were some of the things you did after the Caribbean T20 leading up to the CPL?
Well, I think basically during the start of the year I was born a bit too short, and coming in CPL camp I really work on it and try bowl more wicket to wicket, and that really pays off for me.
Permaul said the tournament was a tremendous success, noting that it could only get better as the years go by. He pointed out that one of the high points for him was being able to rub shoulders with international stars Mohammad Hafiz, Martin Guptill, James Franklin, Tilakaratne Dilshan and Lassit Malinga.
Well, I think it's a pleasure to be around the international players because the experience that they get and the share, and I think it's a very good thing, and you can learn a lot from the experience. Cause playing in different conditions and different situations, you learn a lot from them.
Meanwhile, Pirmal is among 3 Guyanese who will be part of a spin bowling clinic to be conducted by the former Pakistan spinner Saqlain Mushtaq next month. He has also been selected for the West Indies A team to tour India in September, and the talented young cricketer is looking forward to make maximum use of both events.
Well, obviously, I think the spin clinic would be a very important thing for me, because I think we really in the West Indies get spin bowling clinic that much, and like a man like Saqlain Mushtaq, who all know that dominate international cricket, to work with, I think that will be a very big plus to me, and hopefully in the India tour I could go down there and do well.
The clinic will run from September 3 to 21, but Pirmal will leave on September 10 for India. Meanwhile, Pirmal's spin partner Devendra Beshu, who played for the Barbados Tridents in the Lima Call CPL, said the tournament was amazing from start to finish.
Well, CPL is amazing. I think it could only get better from here on. And the tournament was very nice. You know, the atmosphere and thing was unbelievable, and the cricket is competitive. You have a lot of overseas and thing coming, so it's I think CPL is here for stay, and we have to make the most use of it.
Beshu played just 1 match in the tournament, but noted that the experience gained from international players Shoaib Malik, Umar Akmal, Shakib Al Hassan and Azhar Mahmood was invaluable.
Well, it's a really good experience, because the boy is unbelievable when it comes to the cricket, and off the field they are like so humble and stuff like that. But well, I learned a lot from them, and I learned a lot from the coach, Desmond Haynes and Robin Singh. For the little while I was with the team, me and Robin do some work and a lot of work, and I think it was a nice experience being around them boys and see what they're all about, you know, and how they play the cricket and stuff.
The leg spinner is also looking forward to the Saqlain Mushtaq Spin Clinic next month, as he is keen on wearing the maroon West Indies colours once again.
Yes, of course, I'm looking forward for it. As I say, I have to make the most use out of it, and whatever they have for me, I'm going to accept it with both hands. You know, I need to work on my game and to get back into West Indies team. It's not going to be easy, but then again, I have to be up for it. And I think that this spin camp will do a lot for me and the rest of the boys.
And finally, some international cricket news. Zimbabwe cricketers are likely to play the deciding ODI against Pakistan on Saturday, despite aborting training on Friday morning over unpaid salaries. The players have extended to Monday a deadline for Zimbabwe cricket to clear their dues, which could yet put a cloud over the 2-test series that begins on Tuesday. Zimbabwe, through their newly formed player union, were considering a boycott of the final ODI if the salaries were not paid by the end of Friday, but ESPN Cricinfo has since learned that most of the players are willing to take the field for the game. However, the players are contending that should they not be paid the outstanding sum by Monday, there will not be a test series. And with that, we've come to the end of sport. Of course, you can find these stories and more in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. Stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports next. This is the evening news. Welcome back. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Damrar Harbour Bridge will be closed on Saturday, August 31 at 14 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Saturday, August 31 at 13 hours 25 for a period of 1.5 hours. And with that, we've come to the end of the evening news for Friday, August 30, 2013. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.